What is up, my friends? This is your chief guitar instructor, Miles, and today I'm going to be giving you a very simple 8-string guitar lesson. And basically, what we're going to cover is, of course, the standard tuning, and then how to visualize the fretboard and compose on an 8-string. And that's it. And it's pretty straightforward. So, of course, traditional tuning is, well, standard tuning is E, A, D, G, B, E. Now, on an 8-string guitar, the string above the low E is actually going to be a B, and then the string above that is going to be an F sharp. Okay, pretty straightforward, right? And the reason that we tuned B and F sharp is because, well, if you think about the high E, there's a B above it, right? Anything above B, there's a G string, but those notes are not a fourth apart, a fourth interval, like every other string. B to E is a fourth interval, D to G, A to D, E to A. And so with 8-string tuning, we're keeping that consistent fourth interval. So there's a fourth between the B and the E, and then there's a fourth interval between the F sharp and the B. And this allows you to easily visualize the fretboard and move the shapes that you're already familiar with to the low strings. So I'll give you an example of that. So let's take, we'll start with the basics, like a power chord. So if you take a power chord that's normally played at the 7th fret of your E string, a B power chord, you can move that to your 5th fret of your low F sharp, and it's going to be the exact same chord. And I think that is one of the most valuable lessons for learning 8-string and 7-string. But that's one reason why I like 8-string more than 7-string, is it helps you visualize the guitar in really 4 octaves. Like I did right there, I moved across 4 octaves playing a B major arpeggio. And so we start off with that B power chord, and then of course we could expand the power chord to include the octave with our pinky, and with the 8th string, that low F sharp string, you just get those really low beefy chords. Okay, and then we could expand even further and play a major chord. So if you were to play B major, you would play E7, E7, A9, D9, and G8. You can move that exact same shape 1 octave lower to that 5th fret of your low F sharp. So we have the power chord, then we have the power chord with the octave, then we have the major chord. All right, so that's probably the easiest way to start writing riffs and licks on the guitar, is to view everything in octaves. So that's how you can visualize your guitar chords in octaves, and whatever chord you can play on the E, A, D, and G strings, any chords that you can play on E, A, D, and G, you can play on any of the lower sets of 2, 3, or 4 strings. So, for example, I could play that major shape on the B string and on the F sharp string. And hopefully that makes sense. And then of course, you can do the same thing with your scale shapes. So for example, we'll take an ultra simple scale shape and we'll just play using our index, middle, and pinky fingers 6, 7, and 9 of the low E and A strings. Now you can take this and move an octave lower to 7, 5, and 4 of B and F sharp. So that would give you well, if we ascend, that'd give you 4, 5, 7 on F sharp and B, and 6, 7, 9 on E and A. And you could continue moving up the fretboard if you wanted to, which would take you to the 8th fret of D and G, and then to the 11th fret of B and high E. So all together. And of course I made some mistakes there. Don't mind that, because we all make mistakes, right? Anyways, so visualize the fretboard and octaves using your common scale shapes and your common chord shapes. And then outside of scales and chords, you can also visualize arpeggios in octaves. So for example, if we go to that 5th fret of our low F sharp, we could play a major arpeggio right there. This would be a B major arpeggio, and that would be playing the 5th fret, low F sharp, and then frets 4 and 7 of the B string, using your middle, index, and pinky fingers. And from there, you move up an octave to the 7th fret of your low E. Play the exact same thing. Then move up to the 9th fret of your D string. And then up to the 12th fret B. And all together. All right, so that's how you can start to visualize the fretboard. And then another important technique is for composition really, is using open strings. And so if you play the 7th fret of, let's say, the E string, and then you play open B, those are 1 octave apart. So you can basically compose, you could compose in the key of B minor or B major, and then all you have to do is play that open B or notes in that scale on that B string. So in this case, we could use the B minor scale, which we'll make super simple by playing 7, 9, and 10 of the low E and A strings. And then on the B string, we'll just play open B. And to make it simple, we'll just play B minor pentatonic on that string. So that'd be open, 3, 5, 7, 10, and 12. So what does that give us? That gives us these notes to work with. And you can write a lot of really cool riffs using those notes. And what I did there at the end, of course, was just descend using power chords at fret 7, 5, 3, and then of course an open power chord. And then if you really want to sound genty, what I suggest you do is, well, first of all, get a noise gate for your guitar, and second of all, make sure you have good pickups on your guitar. And dialing in a gent tone, there are a lot of different ways to do it, but of course I really like to play towards the bridge to get a decent gent tone. But I'm not a pro gent guitarist, so I don't know a lot about it. But I do love bands like Animals as Leaders, so I've heard a lot of gent. But anyways, that's besides the point. But long story short, if you want to visualize the fretboard, well, start viewing it in octaves. Learn chord shapes and scale shapes that work really well on your E, A, D, and G strings. And then just play those on your B and F sharp strings. And that's it. That's your 8-string guitar lesson. So if you have any questions, well, leave them for me in the comment section below. And of course, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, as it really helps the channel grow. And subscribe if you want to see more guitar lessons like this one. Once again, thanks for watching and have a good day.